Hello everybody and welcome to Tot&HAM, the weekly show where James and I talk about Tottenham and West Ham United from Planet FPL. I'm Suj.
And I'm James.
And I'm West Ham.
And I'm Spurs.
So, we've been doing the show for, 25 odd episodes, give or take a couple. It's been a bit depressing most of the time. I'll be honest with you. We've lost a lot of games. We started the season well and then dipped off. You've had flashes of some kind of recovery, but really...
It's just been this podcast.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It was better before.
It was, well, was it? That's the question, isn't it, really? It's like, you look at the underlying performances and data behind the headlines of getting to the Champions League final.
Please clarify
that
we're pre-recording this on Friday before the FA Cup third round. And who knows, we might both be out. So just decided to take a long weekend's holiday, so we had to go in advance.
we might be out of the FA Cup, but our manager's not getting fired off the back of it. You mentioned on the main pod... There's
no point talking about it. We might have won 4-0. I don't know.
Yeah, that you think that if you lost, Mourinho could be out. Chances 1 in 10?
Very unlikely, but possible.
I don't think it's likely. So, what's the feeling amongst the rest of the fans?
I don't really know. I don't really want to talk to them.
Okay.
Because there's mutiny started now between like Poch backers and people who, but look at Mourinho's trophies and all that. And as I said countless times, like the football in the last year under Pochettino, maybe even 18 months, was pretty shocking. Wasn't great.
Yeah.
And there is no improvement now other than we are playing even more direct football. Great.
It is direct, is it?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I'd highlighted when he came in the door that he'd assessed Mourinho that the midfield was so poor that just bypass it. But then he started playing football as in midfield and he's still bypassing it.
Right.
So, like, Alderweireld gets the ball and it's... and I know it's under instruction for Toby to start lumping the thing. It's not lumping, it's not hoofing it. It's long direct passing. But it's like,
it's not what you're used to.
You're praying for it to come off 1 in every 10.
Yeah, it's not what you're used to.
It needs 2 runs for it to happen as well. It needs a first run, perfect case, and it's not a Spurs related goal. But think of the Edison sending off against Wolves, where Johnny made that first run. So Cole Walker goes with the run and ends up really deep, which means when Jota makes the second run, he's well onside, and that's what needs to happen. It needs Ali to make... So at the moment, it's only Ali and Kane. Obviously, Kane's now injured. But in the last few games, it needs Ali to make the first run off the left and then Kane to go for the second. It's the only way it'll work. Now, with Son back in the team, there's a chance that'll work better now because you've got someone who generally can stretch defenders with his pace.
Yeah.
But it's awful to watch. And then when we go behind, it's like then we start playing football. We've got no creativity. We just got guys who go sideways with the ball. Even
Eriksen's not able to unlock a pass
There's no
anymore.
tempo. There's never any tempo with anything that Spurs do. It hasn't been for a very long time. That I can criticise Mourinho for, but it was like that before he came in the door as well. I don't see... He came in and he started with this kind of moving Aurea high up the right-hand side stuff. That stopped. I don't know why that stopped. The further he is away from my own goal, probably the better. Less chance of making mistakes. That seems to have stopped now. He's playing Sessegnon at left back, which I don't believe he's got any trust in. The only Spurs player, in my opinion, who had any sort of significant sort of back-to-back good games was Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah,
He's dropped
you mentioned him.
He's dropped him. Ali's gone off the boil. Yeah. It's just in a bad place. There's no point me assessing what may or may not have happened at Middlesbrough at this stage. The only thing I can try and do is assess like what might happen next.
Well, the thing with Middlesbrough is, depending on what Mourinho's stance is, you might play a very different team anyway. You might get a few more of the kids out and get some of the fringe players and who haven't really broken in.
But
that's
his season is winning that competition.
This season,
which I can't believe I'm talking about now because we might be out. So,
so what is the solution here? Mourinho's not going to get fired, in my opinion, at least until the summer, and probably not even until the end of next year. I think they want to give him longer.
There isn't a great solution unless he adds quality, particularly into the central midfield area. But like, try and work with the best of what you've got. I see no plan, no structure. When he walked in the door at Chelsea, he used to make 3 changes at half time and whatever. It just feels like at the moment, like I say, just throws shit at the wall. All right, okay, we're losing. Let's play Eriksen in centre midfield and hope that he can unlock a door 50 yards from goal.
You said that you don't think he's able to adapt to the modern game. Well, he hasn't adapted to the modern game.
I feel like tactically...
What's the modern game in your mind like?
Well, I feel like...
Pace and...
When he came in the door at Chelsea, it was off the back of a period where he'd obviously won the Champions League with Porto. Yeah. Greece had won the European Championships. Like, defensive football was at a time when I wouldn't say it was ruling king, but you could get away with a lot more then than you can now. Unless you've got like Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, you can't hope to just soak up pressure. And he hasn't got players that can particularly play a counter-attacking system anymore. I think it's why Pochettino began to integrate Son into a central position, because of that pace on the counter-attack. Also didn't trust him in terms of defensive responsibility because he didn't have the fitness, although Son's fitness has improved vastly in the last 12 months or so. I mean, looking forward to Liverpool now is like...
Tough game.
I don't even know. I mean, there's something I could say as a system-wise that I would do, and it's probably an open conversation in terms of trying how to stop Liverpool, but it's not a long-term solution for Spurs. I wouldn't play a centre-forward against Liverpool with Kane now injured. I would play a back 4, probably of Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Sanchez, Aurier. I'd play a diamond in front of that, with either Dyer or Winks in front of the back 4. Dyer will be the better protection, but you need to keep the ball when you win it back against Liverpool, so I'd probably go Winks. I'd go Ali left of that, Sissoko right. Those two have responsibility to get out to the fullbacks. I'd play Lamela ahead of that at 10, because he's a worker. He can go and press. He will work hard. I'd play Son on the left wing and with no defensive responsibility, and I'd play Sessegnon on the right wing with no defensive responsibility.
Why Sessegnon over Mora?
More direct in terms of his pace and physicality, and be able to come inside and join in, coming in off his left foot, with Son doing the same from the left on his right.
And whose responsibility to break into the box? Ali and Lamela?
It would be more Lamela to join in, and Ali would have to play with a handbrake on. I say Ali because he'll playing a more deeper role, because him going out to Trent's okay. Sissoko going out to Robertson's okay. And then 1-1 goes, the other two still inside, become a central midfield. And you just let Van Dijk and Gomez have the ball. Yeah. Get Lamela around Henderson. The first thing you've got to do is try and stop them. At the moment, no one's coming up with a plan to try and stop Liverpool, right? Yeah. Mourinho's not going to do that. And to be honest, if Mourinho did pick that team and we got battered, people would be doing, what are you doing? Playing back centre forward. Yeah, of course, true. So I get that.
Is there anything from the Champions League final? I know it was quite a while ago now, 6-7 months ago, whatever it was.
The Champions League final was a poor game. The one was always Son on Trent. We felt like he could have him. Again, to be honest, it was more a ball over the top. Yeah. And that's why I say leave Son on that position on the left and literally cheat. That's what I call it, cheat. Don't come back. And it's a brave strategy, but you've got to start making Trent and Robertson think about what they're doing in behind. If you get Lamela close to Henderson, you can get 3-on-3s there without like playing a centre forward. Yeah. Because of the way the fullbacks will come on. You get Lamela around Henderson, and then you've got Son and Sessegnon or Lucas, whatever, dragging Van Dijk and Gomez out into positions where they're not comfortable and splitting the centre halves.
The thing with Robertson and Trent getting in behind, they've got the cover of Matip or Gomez or Van Dijk or whatever to clean up their mess, and so I don't think they worry that much about it.
No, it's true. I mean, Van Dijk's reading of the game is second to none.
So good. Yeah. If you go down, 1 down, like they score first, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Oh, yeah, you could set up like that and you're 1-0 down in 2 minutes and the game plan's gone.
Yeah, even like yesterday against Sheffield United, 4 minutes in and they're 1-0 down and it's done now.
So what's he more likely to do? Tried and trusted. Probably, I'd say go Son and Ali up front. Probably Lucas left, Sissoko right.
And Christian Eriksen in the middle?
I don't know. You can't say Eriksen in a midfield 2 against Liverpool.
No.
The one thing that Liverpool don't have compared to others is, unless they change to a 4-2-3-1, and Klopp's shown on times this season that he can change to that, is somebody who really, really breaks from midfield, like relentlessly. Like Ali, if he's playing in that position, or sort of Mason Mount at Chelsea. Obviously, you likes of Wijnaldum do get into the box. But you always feel like you can see it coming. The threat is so much with the front guys, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you played Spurs in terms of how they play with the fullbacks, have got to be so careful. And this is a game where you could argue it should suit Mourinho in terms of trying to sit deep.
Yeah.
I just can't see him coming up with anything tactically that will stop them. And this is his weekend to try and impress me, right? But then what? So then after that, we play Watford. We can't play the same way. So then show me a different Tottenham. Show me all I want is like a little bit of enjoyment back. I already accept the league season's finished. There's no fight in them. No character.
Energy, low energy.
Yeah, poor.
It's the same frustration I had at West Ham for so long that completely changed this week. I feel for you there. Like, I don't feel like the answer and the solution to what needs to happen is very obvious with Spurs at the moment right now. There's a lot of different moving parts that need to all be made a little bit better, rather than, you know what, that's the problem, just fix that. There is a lot going on that needs work right now.
That's where he's got my sympathy, because he's walked into
Lots
crap
of problems
of previous, and Pochettino has to take a lot of responsibility for what's been left behind. Obviously, the players that are there now need to take a massive responsibility for what's happening, because some of them, like Eriksen, Vertonghen's dropped off alarmingly, mate. Like his performance at that first half at Norwich, shocking. Wasn't really any better at Southampton either. So there's a load of them there who, level-wise, have dipped well below standards of what we would have expected. So Vertonghen and Alderweireld 3 years ago was the best partnership in this league. Yeah. And now I'm looking at him going, Sanchez should play, because at least he's got the pace recovery. And he looks like he gives a shit as well.
Right.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. What I'd say on Mourinho is I don't feel like whatever Tottenham do to try and fix this, and it's a longer term fix, I don't think he's going to be the guy to fix it.
No. Again, it's a short-term appointment rather than a long-term appointment. Short-term fix to try and get a trophy in the cabinet rather than a long-term.
Yeah. And if he finishes this season with a trophy, then it's job done.
You know who comes out of this looking the best? Then Pochettino.
Not really.
You don't think so?
Well, I mean, it's only going to.
It's not gotten any better. Put it that way.
No. There was a small bounce, but with respect, like, we beat yourselves, Bournemouth, Burnley.
Nah.
We scraped the win at Wolves. God knows how. We came from behind and beat Brighton. We didn't particularly deserve to win the game. We played well for like 15 minutes or so when Eriksen and Lo Celso come on. They've had a chance in the team, the two of them, last couple of games. Nothing. And Ndombele's injured again.
Yeah.
Kane's torn his hamstring. Yeah.
How long's the Kane injury? 3 or 4 months?
Not confirmed. Spurs put an update out on Friday, and bearing in mind we're recording on Friday, that they confirmed it's a tear. I mean, what does that mean?
It's
2 months?
It means it's worse than a pull. Put it that way.
I don't think anybody ever thought it was a pull. So 2 months, I guess, probably.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, we got a new manager, Scottish
it's
fella.
Going well, isn't it?
David
Great.
Moyes is his name. He only had a day and a half with the players, so to give him credit for the victory is a bit much. Having said that, he obviously had a massive impact on the squad. It's one of those we want to perform to prove to the manager. It's nothing more than arm around the shoulder, and you know what? You're good enough to go and play. And yeah, that game against Bournemouth was chalk and cheese to everything I've seen this season so far. Even the games that we'd played well, counter-attacking and had won, were nowhere near the level of performance that it was against Bournemouth, because it was so controlled. I knew we were good at pace on the counter when we wanted to be, but what was different here was I felt like you're going to think I'm mad, but I felt like I was watching Wolves. We played in the way that Wolves played so well against us when we played them 2 weeks ago.
I think you're mad.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not saying we're as good as Wolves, but if you're looking at comparing style of play of all the games I've seen this season...
Nothing tactically is the same there, though.
Where? Wolves?
Well, I mean, in terms of system.
4-4-2, Jota and Jimenez up front.
Wolves play 3/5 at the back, don't they?
Yeah, it's more around pressing, letting the other team have the ball and pressing, but just laying the traps to get them to play 8 to 10 passes and then bang, pounce in and get the ball back and then build from that. And that's what we did so well in the first half. And then obviously the goal from Noble, first goal was a deflection. Haller's finish was very good, and then the penalty we won, and Felipe's goal was good in the second half. The game was a bit duller in the second half. I think being 3-0 up is what you'd expect. But yeah, I was very impressed. There was still areas of improvement. I still think Creswell at left back needs a bit of improvement. Haller, his hold-up play was better, and having Anderson close to him was better, but his passing on the deck is a little ropey. Right? It is a little ropey. He'll win the ball and hold it up, but then he'll lose it by playing a shit pass or a shit through ball. And you're like, well, do the simple bit well. Maybe it's just rustiness or what have you. But
would he have been a good forward in the mid-90s? Like a different
quite
era?
Possibly. I haven't seen enough of him yet. That one game, like I said to you on the main pod, that I saw him sprinting a few times. I just haven't seen that level of work from him yet. So we did see that. The 4-4-2 formation was interesting. I think Fornals and Snodgrass played a lot wider than when we have three behind the front man, where they tuck in a little bit more.
Okay.
Fornals wide on the left, and he has actually last 3 or 4 games started stepping up a little bit.
So defensively, 2 banks of 4
2
properly.
banks of 4.
Not Rice no deeper than Noble.
No, Rice and Noble were fairly on a par with each other. Those two worked their socks off. Noble especially. If you're talking about Mr. West Ham, that was his performance. Everybody was talking about how great it was. I was in the pub before the game with a Man United fan. He was saying, you know what? It's time for Noble to move on. He then put in that performance. The problem is, he ain't doing that 2 weeks in a row. I've rarely seen him be able to do that 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. He's done now. He needs a week off to come back to it. But when he puts a shift in, he puts a shift in.
He cares, doesn't he?
Oh, you can tell that he definitely cares. So
did they stop caring under Pellegrino? Is it simple as that?
I don't think they believed in what he was telling them.
Because there's varying opinion depending on who you speak to in terms of is there or isn't there quality within the West Ham squad.
There is quality. So whoever says there isn't is mad. There is quality in there.
So tell me about that quality.
Well,
because this is what I keep saying to people then.
What?
Because people keep saying to me, yeah, there's quality. So I keep saying to them, what is it then?
So Diop, Balbuena, Ogbonna, between the three of them. Ogbonna's a good defender, especially in one-on-one situations, as is Diop. He's gotten better. Balbuena's the best with the ball at feet, but Diop has gotten better as well. Fullbacks, we've said, is an area of concern. Frederick's got a bit of pace. He needs to just add a bit of end product.
Like he had one of his better games on the
he's got a bit of pace. Against the better defender, he'll struggle. But if you put him up against someone who's not so good defensively, he'll do okay. Rice and Noble in the middle of the park will always put a shift in. They're not the best at starting up play. Noble's probably a bit better, but they'll put a shift in. You can guarantee that. As will Snodgrass. He's got a very good left foot, as Snoddy. Anderson, when he wants to, can do damage to any team. And the difference there, you could see how much the goal meant to him. And when he came off the pitch, it felt like, he was happy with the fact that he was being cheered off the pitch. Moyes shook every player's hand as they're coming off. And you know what? I'd never seen that from Pellegrini. You could just tell his man management was just that little bit better. Still not sold on how to use Haller. Like, would I, if you said to me, would I like to see the same team set up in the same way, but with Antonio instead? I probably would.
Yeah, I mean, I see that happening.
I still would like to see Antonio get into the team ahead of Haller, but there is some options there now. Look, Lanzini's still a decent option. I'd play Anderson ahead of him, though. He's going to be on the bench quite a bit. Wouldn't surprise me if we sold him, you know that.
What was the atmosphere like pre-game and at the start of the game? Really?
Yeah.
People were fully behind it?
Yeah, that's best atmosphere at the ground this season. Everybody was, you know what? it's not our first choice, but he didn't do badly last time. We're going to give him a go. There was no negativity. And obviously it helps when you're 2-3-0 up, but it was the best atmosphere at the ground this season so far.
I think from a Spurs perspective, opinions like similar to that with I think there's a lot of people like me are really struggling with this at the moment. But for the fans that go, will get behind the team in any way that we can, as long as there's an attempt to show effort.
Yeah, the thing is, it's just like where has this been all season? This level of work rate and organisation.
But then, is it one game and was it Bournemouth?
Well, I think Bournemouth were not good. They kept the ball well, but they lacked any kind of penetration and creativity. And at the back, I think they struggle for pace. If you're getting in behind Bournemouth, catching either of their centre backs on the turn, you can get in behind them. You'll stand a chance.
What have you got next in the league?
We have at home it's Everton. So we've got Sheffield United away on a Friday night.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Followed by Everton at home. Followed by Leicester. Then I think it's the Liverpool game. Followed by then I think City thereafter. So
okay.
Yeah. So you know what? One game does not a summer make. But everything I saw was if we play like that week in, week out, we'll give most sides a good game. You got to match your opposition on effort first, and then the quality will look from that. And the change in atmosphere all of a sudden was incredible. There's still areas we can improve. I still think our passing needs improvement. We're prone to giving the ball away sloppily far too often for a Premier League side. But that will all come.
Massively positive to win a very important game ahead of, in my opinion, a really difficult run of fixtures that you have.
Yeah, so, I like it that way though. It's like if you're going to be challenged, let's go for it.
Look, get a result on Friday night at Bramall Lane. Be it a draw's fine, right? In the circumstances.
Yeah.
Go and beat Everton. Then it's another 4 points, and then there's a little bit of a buffer ahead of sort of Leicester, then playing Liverpool twice in a month.
Yeah.
So I think you still need to keep putting points on the board because of what teams like Watford and that are doing. But
100%.
I think it's probably already on one game, probably eased a lot of fear.
Yeah.
You were 18th if you lost,
right?
Yeah.
So it
doesn't mean that you're well out of it.
No, not at all. But it was the comfort of the victory in terms of the way that we marshalled and controlled the game. I didn't feel at any point under threat from Bournemouth. And that was confusing. I was thinking about all the FPL managers that had been asking, should I get Fabi? Is it a week too early to get Fabianski in? And he kept out his clean sheet well. And he's a good goalkeeper to look at right now. I was very happy with what I saw. I'm just very cautious about making too much of it. I'm looking forward to next Friday night, mate, to be honest. Watching the Sheffield United game. Different challenge than the Everton game.
Very different challenge, by the way.
Everton game is on the 18th. It's the day after my dad's 70th birthday. Never been to a football game in his life. So the first one I'm going to take him to is the day after his 70th to watch the Everton game. Me, my brother, my sons and my dad. It's a boys' day out.
Nice.
So I'll be looking forward to that one. And if we 4 points from the next two, oh man, that'll have meant 7 points from the 9 that I wanted to get.
I'm glad you look forward to seeing your dad at football.
He won't, but
goes without saying, mine can't stand Mourinho, mate.
Yeah, but my dad's going to come out with dumb stuff like, will they do a goal now? And stuff like that. He'll be like, his terminology and lingo won't quite be there, but it's all right. It's a laugh, isn't it?
Who knows? For Spurs, it might take something random like beating the best team on the planet to change everyone's mood.
If you
can't
won,
see it
wouldn't be the biggest shock.
It would be an astonishing shock.
It would be a shock right now, actually, to be honest with you. I hate to even be
it would be a far bigger shock than if we'd beat them in June.
Yeah. I look at it as a neutral right now. I'm like, nah, it ain't happening. I probably will Captain Mane in that game.
You know the only good news after Saturday? We don't have to play them again till at least August. Unless we get them in a cup. What have I said?
Oh, that could be horrible.
We play them in the FA Cup, so ain't bothered about that.
There we go. Guys, thanks for tuning in to Tottenham, our weekly little rant about our own teams. I know a lot of you that listen don't support Tottenham or West Ham, but if you enjoy the ramblings of two fans that go and watch their teams regularly, week in, week out, and gives you a little bit of insight into maybe what to and not do with your FPL teams. Other than that, Join us tomorrow for Planet Sky FF, where we'll be talking about Sky Fantasy Football, the change in the overhaul date, and what that means for potentially how we set our squads up. And do we follow the mighty Dan Cox and just get 11 Liverpool players or whatever many he has?
We can't follow that.
No. But thank you for tuning in. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child. Come on, you Spurs, please.
Yes. You need some help there.
The Fantasy Football Show.